Hey, friends. It's absolutely great to have you with us tonight. It is the first day of our 5 days of our super challenge to learn 5 secrets for weight management. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Hansie Low. I live in a city called Cape Town in South Africa. That's at the bottom of Africa for those of you who are far away from here. But that's where I live, and I've been here for quite a number of years. So the question is, how do you manage your weight? How do you make sure that the weight goes up when you want it to go up or go down when you want it to go down? And in the next 5 days, I want to share 5 secrets with you. We may add a bonus or 2, but normally in 40 minutes, we'll share those secrets or 1 secret at a time, sometimes a bit more than 1 secret at a time. And we'll also invite questions. So you can send the questions in beforehand, and we'll make sure that you get those questions answered as well. So we're not just going to pause our echo there in terms of our Facebook Live, which now runs on YouTube tonight, which is interesting. But let me just tell you what we are going to cover tonight, and then we'll take it from there. So we are going to cover tonight one of the secrets of weight loss. And that secret I will share with you in a minute. So the first secret tonight, the second one tomorrow night. If you watch us in a replay, you'll probably see it during daytime. But let me just show you a little man, and then I'm going to tell you a brief story about myself. If you look at this sketch down here, this little man wants to be a bit thinner. And in this case, he's carrying quite a bit of weight around here. Some people carry their weight in this form. This is more an apple form. This is more a pear-shaped form. And some people carry their weight like this, which is could be interesting. We have different shapes all over. And you must get to the best place of where your shape would allow you to go. So what is the secret to actually get this? Yeah, to get this a bit thinner, or this one to get this a bit thinner, or this one to adjust that to whatever that should be. So this is what we're going to talk about about tonight. What secret? What can you do to reduce the weight? And of course, we know that you can exercise. And I've just come back from a run, and the run was about 16 kilometers, just over 16 kilometers. And over that 16-kilometer run, and I ran with some mates, and we had some hills to climb. And that 16-kilometer run, we were able to shed something like, or use something like 1,200 calories. So 1,200 calories, I'm just going to jot that down and I'll explain that to you a little bit later. But 1,200 calories, slightly over 1,200 calories, that is what was in our run. Now, normally if you eat in a given period during the day, you will find that you could eat anything between, depending on how little you eat, but anything between 1,000 for some people to 3,000, even 4,000 kilocalories for some other people. So the ideal thing to lose weight is to have, and this is what people tell you, is to have less calories coming in than going out. So to use my example of the 1,200 calories that I used in the run, if I were only to eat 3,000 calories, so 1,200 in, 1,200, sorry, out, 3,000 calories in terms of what I've eaten. So then I would have 1,800 calories to feed myself for the day. Now, I know that for me, in terms of my build, my age, my muscles, I need something like 2,300, 2,400 calories per day, which means if I just do this calculation, on one day today, I might be 500 kilocalories short. Now, if I'm short every day, and this adds up, then I'm sure to lose weight. So that's a way to do that, to lose weight. And some people can do that. Let me just show that to you on this camera of mine. So 1,200, this is what I used on the run. People eat normally between 1 and 3. So if I take my energy consumption of the day, 1,200 out, 3,000 in, 1,800 was the difference. I normally use 2,300, so which means I've gained or I've lost 500 kilocalories for the day. But let me tell you a secret. Let me tell you something that it is easier to lose weight with. Yes, of course, you could every day make sure that you do not move higher than your energy consumption to just keep your body going and lose weight this way. It is a process, which is a good process, but you don't see results soon with this. Your results will take you quite a bit longer to actually get to. So that's vital that you do have a plan which works for you. So what I want you to do is just make a note, post a note wherever you're watching this, if it's on YouTube or wherever you're watching this, is just to make a note and to say, what do you think? What is for you the best way that you can lose weight and reduce your weight? Just take a minute to do that. I'll just put my running picture up for you while you take that minute to jot that down. Okay, so you've had a chance. So let me tell you the first secret, the vital first secret of weight loss. That is, what is that? What is that? Let me just see what some of you have written. Exercise, yes, it's good. Exercise a lot. Eat less. Yes, of course, it's important to eat less. Check what you're eating. Avoid the carbs. That's very good. It's important to not only eat less, but eat less of different types of food. There I see it. Somebody posted that you should not eat. So that is one of the secrets. No eating. No eating. Or, in other words, fasting. So if I say fasting, many of you will think, but it's impossible to fast. I won't be able to fast, and it's something I'll never be able to do. And let me tell you my story, or two of my stories about fasting. When I was, I think, 19, 20 years old, I had this dream to fast. And at that stage, I did that in particular for religious reasons. I just want to spend some time with God and get closer to Him. And that was my reason why I did it at that stage. But I also read, because I've never done it before, I also read that you should rather be away from other people, that you are not tempted or worried, or people don't look at you funny when you're doing that. And I decided to go away to a holiday house, about an hour or so away from our home with my dad, where I was living at that stage. And I went there, and I came there the Friday. I think it was a Friday. Yes, it was a Friday. And I didn't eat. So a portion of the Friday, the afternoon, I didn't eat. And then going into Saturday, I didn't eat. And the idea was that, I would even go through the Sunday as well. And somewhere the Saturday afternoon, I don't know exactly when it was, I was hungry. I was so hungry. And I wasn't only hungry, I felt dizzy. I felt like I was going to pass out. And I thought that I was going to die. So that was my first experience of fasting. No food. I didn't drink anything either. I was just fasting. So the idea was that, in this time, I'll spend some time with God and talk to Him and read things and so forth, but not worry about food or drink at all. But I was famished. Like I said, I felt that I was dying. So what did I do? And there wasn't food, because I made sure that there's no food around. So what did I do? How could I get out of this story? I had a small chocolate, a very small chocolate, and I was eating the chocolate, and it was fantastic. Just the taste of the chocolate, I can still taste it today. It was almost like an explosion of taste in my mouth. The sugar helped me a lot quickly to feel better, to recover from that feeling that I had that I was dying. So that was my first experience with fasting. And then for many years, I didn't fast. I did some short fasts with the church from time to time, which was a day or so. But I didn't fast. I was just too scared. And then many years later, I met somebody and we started talking, and he explained to me the importance of fasting. And we were not talking about the importance for religious reasons or for a personal relationship with God. But we were talking in particular, we were talking about the possibility of doing something that's good for your body. So he convinced me to go for a 4-day fast. I said to myself, 4 days is long. That other time I couldn't, even do 2 days. And he convinced me to do 4 days. He said, it's not so difficult. And then my fast started the evening at 8 o'clock. That's what we agreed on. And he explained to me that, listen, if you start in the evening, then of course you sleep in the night. So your first 10 hours or so, 8 hours or 10 hours, you are sleeping anyway, and you won't miss the fact that you're not eating. And that, to a sense, I could understand. I said, yes, I'll do it that way. But then on that first day, before my fast started, he sent me a message. Can't remember if it was a WhatsApp. I think it was a WhatsApp message. And he said to me, listen, I want you to not drink water for the first period of the fast. And then I almost fell off my chair, because, I'm going to fast. And of course, one of the things that you've got to do, you've got to drink water or coffee or things like that. And he just said to me, no liquids. Oh, and it was tough for me. I couldn't think that I would survive, without liquids. And I said to him, I don't know. And then he said to me, no, but listen, if you get liquids into your stomach, then the stomach expects something more. But if nothing comes in there, the stomach will get used to that. And I was thinking about that. I said, I'm not sure if this makes sense to me. So he said to me, listen, it's easier when you start to fast for the first time not to drink anything for the first period. So I agreed. And then he explained to me that there's a difference between a dry fast, which is this one where you don't drink any liquids, and what they call a black fast. Now, black fast, you're not even allowed to touch water, so you can't wash the dishes. Lucky for me, but I didn't do black fast that time. But you can't touch dishes, you can't brush your teeth, you can't touch water, you can't shower, nothing like that. You can't swim. So that's tough, and I haven't done it yet up to this stage, which is May of 2021. But I did start with a dry fast, and so there were two things that were new to me. The first one was just the fact of fasting, and the second was not drinking anything for that first period. And I remember that I really cherished the time that I could brush my teeth, because at least, you have a bit of a taste of water, just a little bit, just a few drops of water. And to me, those few drops of water was really like from heaven. And then I remember when I stopped the dry fast, I think it was 36 hours, something like that. I had this effervescent tablet with a lot of caffeine in as well, but like a citrus lemon flavor. And it was like paradise exploded in my mouth, because for this, you must remember that for this time I didn't have anything to eat, so I didn't taste anything. I didn't have anything in my mouth. So there was nothing that could actually interfere with this taste of this drink I took, which was fantastic. So I continued with this fast. So now I was allowed liquids, and we talked about the importance of liquids. I was drinking a coffee here or there in between, but when you fast, the fact that you are fasting, you need electrolytes as well to balance the loss, because when you're fasting and when you're drinking water as well, you lose electrolytes, and for your body to function properly, you need electrolytes, and that's one of the vital things of fasting. And if I compare this experience of mine to the first fast I did, I mean, there was no water, there was no electrolytes. I didn't know about electrolytes, and then you remember I explained to you how I felt like I was dying on my first fast when I was young. And what happens sometimes is in your first day or in your first 24 hours or so, you'll find that you could get to a stage where you feel exceptionally tired. And it happened to me, I think, a couple of times when I fasted, that I was tired the first day. And I would go for a nap. And sometimes the nap wasn't a short nap, it would be a 2-hour nap, and I would sleep for those 2 hours. But then normally when I get to day 3, not even day 3 yet, but going into day 3, so 22, 24 hours, and then later closer to 30 hours or so, then you get this incredible surge of energy. And if you read what the people say about that, and you do some YouTube research or other Google research, you'll find that the energy comes from fat that's released. So the body switches from energy from other sources in you, like carbohydrates, and it switches to get that energy from fat. So it's taking your own fats to help you get energy. So some people say to me that when they fast, They can't even sleep because all of this energy. So they've got so much energy that they just can't sleep. So they must do something at nighttime. So continue with a fast. I would recommend when you start, you do a 72-hour fast if you can. Mine was 96 hours, so I pushed it a bit longer. And when I stopped the fast, the first thing I did was to have a shake. And now a shake is, and there was a lot of protein and also good carbohydrates in the shake. But the shake is soft on the body and soft on the stomach. You can't just suddenly eat a steak because that is just too tough for the body. Now people will say to me, why should I fast? Why is fasting one of the secrets of weight loss? Now I say to people that if you fast for 5 days, let's just use a 5-day figure, not a 4-day figure. You'll find that on average, you lose 4 to 5% of your body weight. Now, sure, a part of that is water. I totally agree. A part of that is water. But if I'm just using a round figure, if you weigh 80 and you want to get down and you want to see a quick change, then 5% is something like 4 kilos in 5 days. Now, that's a massive change. Now, normally with weight loss, and this is one of the secrets that we'll look at later on in terms of the formulas, normally with the weight loss, you find that you lose some weight and you'll gain a little bit weight. Again, you lose weight, you gain weight, lose weight, gain weight. And there's a certain pattern and a certain formula linked to that. So if you lose 4 kilos in the 3 days, in the 5 days, you'll probably gain 2 of that back. But that's fine. That's how it works. But the focus, if you focus for 5 or 10 days, you can lose whatever you need to lose for that particular month. So for weight loss and weight management, fasting is one of the fastest ways to change the weight environment. Of course, you can go for a longer fast than 4 or 5 days. Normally, we say 72 hours is what you should aim for. And you don't fast every week. You could, but normally we say once or twice a month, you do a 72-hour fast. Some people say to me, I'm not sure if I'll be able to do that. And then we say to them, there's a different variation of fasting, of the longer fast. And that's what we call an intermittent fasting, which means you fast for a period and then you eat for a period, and you fast again for a period and you eat for a period. And normally this works this way. You start fasting at 8 o'clock at night, like the example that I used, and you push this for 14 hours or 16 hours into the new day, which means if you start at 8 o'clock, then 14 hours is 10 o'clock the next day. So that means you don't have an early breakfast. If you can push it to 12 o'clock, that's ideal. Then you've got your 16 hours. Now, whether it's 10 o'clock or 12 o'clock, you're allowed to eat between that time and again 8 o'clock the night. Then you're allowed to eat, and we assist you to tell you what you can eat in that time. Because it doesn't help if you do intermittent fasting, but you still eat the wrong stuff in the period that you can eat. So that's why that is important. Ideally, some people push that fast out, that they get to 16 hours and some to 20 hours. And out of a period of 24 hours, we normally then talk about a fast of 16 plus 8, which means a 16-hour fast, an 8-hour window of eating. So that's the 16 plus 8. Or you can get 18 plus 6 or 20 plus 4 and so forth. Some people go so far as to have just one meal a day. And they call that the Omad Method, OMAD, which stands for 1 meal a day, 1 meal a day. So they fast for 20 hours, and in that 2 hour that they've got, they then eat. So just for you, if you're unsure about starting to fast, then I would suggest that you start with intermittent fasting. You stop at 8 o'clock the night with eating. You go into the next morning. You're allowed to drink a coffee or a tea in the morning, but you're not allowed to put sugar in there. And ideally, you want to stay away from milk as well. You could put some cream in there, but no milk. And you push that on till at least 10 o'clock, ideally till 12 o'clock. So that is your intermittent fasting. So that's a different way of fasting, and it is effective as well. You don't lose as fast as with, of course, with the 3 or a 5-day fast, but you do lose weight as well. Then it's very, very important what you eat, of course, during that time. And you want to stay away from carbs as much as you can, especially the bad carbs, normally from white flour and so forth. You want to stay away from those, and we give you more details on that as well. But ideally, you want to eat more fats. Now, that, of course, is a subject on its own as well. And we'll deal a little bit more about that in the days to come. And if we're saying you want to eat fats, one aspect of fats would be certain fish. Another one, looking at fats, would be avocado. Those are food with fats that you want to eat, that you want to consume. Carbohydrates, especially all the white carbs like your bread, your cake, your muffins, your pasta, your pizza, you want to stay away from in that period. So that's fasting. Fasting could be anything between 12, 14 hours as a particular fast, or it could be as long as 96 hours, 72 hours. Some people go longer than that. They go for 10 days as a fast, which you can also do. But we recommend that you start at least with intermittent fasting and that you then adjust what you were eating as well. What about exercise? Of course, exercise does play a role. But the example that I've just given you in the beginning when we did the calculation, and I said, I was running and I'm eating this, there would have been a 500 deficit on a day like today. If I fasted today and still did the run, normally if I fast, I run a little bit slower, but I can still do the run. Then my deficit would have been something like, for the day, something like 3,200 calories, something like that, 3,500 calories roughly. That would have been my deficit for the day. So you must understand, if you've got a deficit of 500 on the one side, as opposed to a deficit of 3,500 on the other side, then of course this one must help you to lose the weight faster. It makes sense. Just one myth that I want to talk about. Some people say that if you do not eat 500 kilocalories per day, that's 2,000 kilojoules for those who measure in kilojoules. If you don't eat that, then the body will just, in a sense, stop. Not stop like you're dying, but stop in the sense that your metabolic rate will drop lower and that you won't lose weight. Now, that's an interesting opinion. If we just look at the signs of things, if you stop eating and nothing, zero is coming in, and you've got energy, then the energy must be fed from somewhere, then there will be weight loss. The body might take a day or so to adjust, but it will go down in weight if that is what you want. So the fact that you must eat 500 kilocalories per day is a myth. You don't have to eat. A lot of people, especially in the days around the time of Jesus, which is 2,000 plus years ago, they were fasting. Fasting was a well-known thing. And they fasted, some of the people fasted twice a week. At the moment, we know with certain religious groups, they fast certain periods of the year where they fast from in the daylight hours from sunrise to sunset. They fast and they eat in the morning and in the evening. And that's intermittent fast. So they do that. So it's possible to fast and to have tremendous health benefits as well, which I haven't even touched on now. I've just talked about fasting, the benefits of fasting for you for weight management or weight loss. Normally, this is what I see. My first day of fasting, I normally weigh in the morning. So I would start in the evening, next morning. So there would be a little bit of a change, but not much. But my biggest loss is normally on that second period. So from the 8 in the morning after about 12 hours of fasting till the next morning, I would often lose, say, something like 1.5 or 2 kgs in one day. And that wouldn't normally include exercise. If I do exercise, it will be more than that. So that's from me today for this first day. It's just about fasting. One of the secrets, one of the best ways to tackle weight management is fasting, because you'll find that on the other side of fasting, there's nothing that your body can't do. If you have questions about fasting, about what you should do, could do, shouldn't do, please let me know by a direct message or by email. I'll post the email as well, that you have that. It's vital that you know what to do when you fast. If you have certain health conditions, it's important to go to your doctors to say to your doctor, I'm going to fast. Is there anything that you want me to keep in mind while I fast? The people getting medication, normally when you fast, the important thing would be to protect the lining of the stomach. And as a general rule, and this is very general, you need to check with your own doctor, please. But as a general rule, I would say that you need to drink a lot of water before you take your medication and again after you've taken it. So the water is almost like a pillow protecting the inside of the stomach. But check with your doctor if you've got certain health conditions. Fasting would have tremendous benefits for you for your health. And I'm not going to go into that tonight or even in these 5 days. I might touch on it once or twice again in the period, but in no amount of detail. There are a tremendous amount of material out there in terms of fasting. You will be so glad when you fasted for the first time. So I trust that my fasting experience and my 2 stories about fasting, the one time when I did it wrong and the other time when I did it better, that it will inspire you to fast and to tackle your first fast and to start with intermittent fasting. With intermittent fasting, you can turn your weight management around in a very, very short space of time. Thank you for joining us, and I'll be happy to hear your stories of your first fast.